We all know that Bob Arum loves Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is going to be the flagship fighter over at Top Rank very soon. Bob Arum loves Shakur Stevenson. That's his favorite fighter, I believe, on his stable. You know, he says Shakur beats everybody. He says Shakur beats Loma. He says Shakur beats Haney. And he's been making it clear that he wants Shakur to fight the winner of Lomachenko and Devin Haney for Undisputed. And he just came out again recently and made that clear again.
Yeah, the plan is for him to fight the Haney-Loma winner. I mean, if Haney wins, he's talking about going to 140, so that makes a vacant title for Shakur. But if Loma wins, then Loma and Shakur is a fight that I would pay all kinds of money to watch.
Now, this is interesting because Bob Arum is still under the impression that Team Haney, Devin Haney, is going to be moving up to 140 after the Lomachenko fight. But Team Haney just came out a week or two ago saying they're staying at 135 for the remainder of the year. And the main problem with that is we know they're not going to fight Shakur Stevenson. We just know it. They've been avoiding that fight at all costs. Not even avoiding just the fight. They've been avoiding just talking about Shakur. Just to keep the attention away from people even talking about that fight. They've been not even wanting to talk about Shakur. But here we are. They going to have to make a decision. Y'all just said that y'all staying at 135. Bob been saying for the longest that he wants Shakur to get the winner of Devin Haney and Lomachenko. Because like Bob said in that clip, he thinks Haney is moving up and vacating the titles to move out of Shakur's way so Shakur can step in and fight for a vacant title. So he's not having that just sitting around holding the belts. You're going to have to fight Shakur. Because Bob loves Shakur. He going to make sure Shakur gets his opportunities. But I'm telling y'all now, we're not going to see this fight. We're not going to see it. And it ain't going to be Shakur's fault or Bob Arum's fault. Because we know Bob wants it. We know Shakur wants it. But we also know that Team Haney, Bill, Devin, whoever else over there, they don't want it. But Bob Arum just did an interview with Fight Hub TV as well, where he commented on Gervonta Tank Davis. Or I don't know if he just did this interview or if it's an old clip and they just dropped it. But he made some comments about Gervonta Tank Davis as well.
Because Taylor's a much more polished fight. Tank is not a published fight. He's a talented kid who's a little wild and a good fighter, really good fighter would take him apart.
Someone like
Taylor would take him apart.
Teo too. I know.
Who?
Teo. A lot of people want to see him and Teo go.
Teo would probably not take him apart, but beat him. That doesn't demean Tank. He's still learning, and he's still improving, and he'll be getting better. But he is a little inexperienced at the high level, in my opinion.
Now, like Bob said, that's his opinion, and you can't fault him for his opinion. And it's a very educated opinion. Bob has been around the sport for 60 plus years. The only thing I would take issue with is the last thing he said, where he said that Gervonta Davis was inexperienced at the highest level. In comparison to who? Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez? I don't think so. Now, as far as the fight between Josh Taylor and Gervonta Tank Davis, I think that would be a very tough fight for Tank because Josh Taylor is a pretty crafty fighter, a pretty sharp fighter, good boxing skills, and he's a giant compared to Tank. Like, we're forgetting that Gervonta Davis is a 130-pounder, borderline 135-pounder. I think, I've been saying it for the longest, I think he should still be at 130, but it's his career, that's his decision. And Josh Taylor recently has been struggling to make 140 pounds. So if you're this skilled and that much bigger, then theoretically you should win that fight against Tank. Me personally, I still think Tank would catch him at some point and knock Josh Taylor the fuck out. That's just my opinion. But we don't know. But as far as his record and him fighting high-level competition in comparison to Tank, let's look at that. Starting with his most recent fight against Jack Catterall, where a lot of people think Josh Taylor lost that fight. And it seems like he been avoiding that rematch. You know, he was supposed to fight a rematch with Jack Catterall early this year. Then he popped up with an injury. Now he's supposed to fight Teofimo. So Jack Catterall probably going to have to wait for that rematch if he even ever gets it. But Jack Catterall was his last opponent. Do y'all know when Gervonta Tank Davis moved up 10 pounds from 130 to 140 and fought Mario Barrios? Mario Barrios was ranked higher than Jack Catterall. Did y'all know that? But before he fought Catterall, he fought Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is a pretty good fighter. I can't take nothing away from Jose Ramirez. But Gervonta Tank Davis beat Leo Santa Cruz. And I hold Leo Santa Cruz to a higher standard than Jose Ramirez, me personally. That's just my opinion. Y'all can disagree, and I can't argue with y'all. That's just my opinion personally. I hold Leo Santa Cruz to a higher standard than Jose Ramirez. And also, Jose Ramirez in his last fight fought Jose Pedraza, who Tank knocked out in 7th rounds in his 17th fight at 22 years old when Pedraza was in his prime. Did Jose Ramirez stop Jose Pedraza? Nope. Even though he's bigger than Pedraza, and Pedraza was older when they fought, he couldn't stop him. Neither has anybody else that Pedraza's fought. The only one that stopped him, Gervonta Tank Davis. The only fight that you can say that Josh Taylor fought a higher level than Gervonta Tank Davis is Regis Prograis. And it's arguable Josh Taylor lost that fight too. But that's the only fight. I give him credit for that. Tank ain't fought nobody on Regis level yet. But that's the only fight. And he arguably lost that fight too. And it's the same exact thing when it comes to Teofimo Lopez. He fought one fighter, Lomachenko, that's probably a higher level than any guy on Tank's resume. Outside of that, what has he done? He fought 2 fighters that did the similar thing, and Sandor Martin and George Kambosos, who are 2 fighters that both caught lightning in a bottle. Sandor Martin caught his by beating Mikey Garcia. Kambosos caught his by beating Teofimo himself. But I don't hold them guys to a real high level, actually, or to higher levels than anybody else on Gervonta Tank Davis's resume. Not calling them bums, but they're not that much better than everybody else that Tank has fought. I don't think they're that better at all. I will pick Barrios at 140 over Sandor Martin. It will be a tough fight. Sandor Martin got some good boxing skills. But I think, unlike Teofimo, Mario Barrios is a great body puncher. He was slow Sandor Martin down, attacking that body, slowing them legs down. And as far as Kambosos, I've never been high on Kambosos, even though he beat Teofimo. You know, he beat Mickey Bay and Lee Selby in split decision wins. But I've never really been too impressed with George Kambosos. I think he's a good fighter, but I think Pedraza in his prime was better than Kambosos. I think Leo Santa Cruz better than Kambosos. That's just my opinion. And notice, I haven't even mentioned Pitbull Cruz or Hector Garcia. I haven't even mentioned them. You know, Tank don't get credit for those wins, but fighters get credit for beating Nakatani, who never been a champion, who never beat anybody good. But for some reason, fighters get all this credit for beating Nakatani. I don't understand it. Nakatani's trash to me. I don't understand. I guess because it's the top rank thing. You know, if you fight on top rank, you get all these extra points. I don't know why. But that's just what it seems like. Because Nakatani never been impressive to me at all. And Richard Comey is a former champion. He's a good fighter, but let's keep it real, man. Was he ever great? No, he wasn't. He was a good fighter, but that is not the highest level. You can't use that as an example of the highest level. So it's the same thing with both Josh Taylor and Teofimo when it comes to their experience at the highest level in comparison to Gervonta Davis. They both fought one guy that's better than anybody Tank's fought, but that's it. It's nothing crazy. And I would pick Gervonta Tank Davis to stop both of them. I think the Josh Taylor fight would be tougher, but I think he would smoke Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo would win some rounds. Tank always give up some rounds, but Tank would catch him, and I think the middle round, 7th, 8th round, and knock Teofimo out. I think it'd be a little tougher just with the size disadvantage against Josh Taylor. But that's what I got for y'all. I'm out.